And we're back for episode 14 of Natty Muscle Radio, featuring none other than myself, Bob Waterhouse 86 at livegmail.com, and
Aaron at Bevan at Not Pro. I'm really gutted that you didn't do your old school Gmail bodybuilding email from last week. What is it? Bodybuilder86 at gmail.com.
86 at live.co.uk. Get me on that.
What happens if you email that? Does it still?
Yeah, you'll generally get a response.
Such as?
Well, this is the email address you need for when you go to Body Power when it used to be good, and you sign up for all the free supplements.
Okay.
Website address.
Right,
So
because then you don't get a lot of shit.
Mainly full of junk mail.
Yeah.
Mainly full of, I don't know, what else would you get through there? Yeah, just one to me. Don't really contact me on this one because it's just what I use for like spam. So.
Body Power. The first couple of times when it was still bodybuilding, I loved it so much.
What year did you go?
I'm rubbish with years, so I'm not going to be able to tell you. But it was full on. Like I met Evan.
Wait, let me just get my Darren Loxton glasses and roll my eyes at you.
Okay. I thought we were going to get Darren on again then.
Glasses are there. They'll probably come up at some point.
Met Evan, met Jay, met Flex, obviously. Met Lee Priest. It was just bodybuilding. And then just year after year after year.
I went.
When?
2008.
Okay, wow.
When Phil Heath was really cool still.
I definitely wasn't a bodybuilder.
So in case Phil's watching, you are still cool, Phil.
You
But he wasn't hated by 50% of the bodybuilding population at that point.
Mm.
He was sponsored by Metrex at the time. He had pretty much zero Q for him.
Really?
Yeah, so 2008 was like, I was fairly well known, I guess, by then, but he was like ultra off season as well. His arms were ridiculously round. I was like, that's the biggest arms I've ever seen. And Kai Green, I managed to get a picture with Kai Green just as he was walking, as he turned up, basically. So I was so me and my mate had a picture with him, and we still talk about his turtle shell from today's.
Did he have it then? Yeah.
I couldn't find where his back ended when I put my arm around him to take a picture. Literally was just like, it was a turtle shell. It was like, that's ridiculous. Where does his back end? The fact that I was about to...
Okay. Dusty Hanshaw says that Kai Green is still the most impressive bodybuilder he's ever seen in person. He said like it's the first time he double took for a guy. Like Kai Green walked past him and he just was like...
That was fake Kai, as in Bonac.
Okay, yeah.
Or mini Kai, as they call him. He was doing cable bicep curls at Body Power. This was like maybe 3 years afterwards. And I was just like, what on earth? Because I think there's at the time, without being a dick, that you'd seen quite a lot of pro bodybuilders. And some people are dead impressive in real life. And some people you think, you're not that big. But he was one of them who was like, wow, that's ridiculous. And Evan, I'd never seen such a decent pair of arms as Evan's from said, show us your bicep. And it was just like it's an ostrich egg covered in veins.
Yeah, Evan was cool. Those are the days. The t-shirts you used to get from early Body Powers were great as well.
I came away with like 14 new t-shirts for the first year because I went Friday, Saturday, Sunday, probably took the day off work. You get all the Celtec deals on the Sunday because they didn't want to ship the stuff home again. So they were doing like buy one, get one free.
Yeah.
A tub of Celtec for like 20 quid and it was buy one, get one free.
Yeah.
Never going to use it.
Really expensive creatine.
Yeah, exactly.
That top you're wearing looks like a Body Power special.
This one?
Yeah.
This is a Hammer Strength t-shirt. You can't buy these in the shop.
No.
And the reason why I love it so much, a couple of reasons. One, it reminds me of James Poyner, because every T-shirt that James Poyner owns is a stipulation it must be a V cut.
Yeah.
If you're wondering why my pecs keep popping out of this T-shirt,
Apart from the fact they're so big.
no, it's the T-shirt. They're
Oh.
actually really flat, but it's just right there. Fine. Yeah, that's better. So yeah, when I first met James Poyner, I kept calling him Joey Swole, and he couldn't work out why I was calling him Joey Swole, and then he realised it was because he was wearing a V-cut All Saints T-shirt.
No.
So, which speaking of which, I probably need to text him because I don't think we've got a meme this week.
Yeah. Well, I was contacted by a good friend. Shout out to Ryan Kershaw, if you're watching. Not a bodybuilder at all. Used to call him Rye the Bye because back in the college days, we used to train in like local DW Fitness, it was, and he could curl what most people would be squatting. Not much else, yeah. I would call him Rye the Bye. But anyway, he got on the podcast, said didn't know anything we were talking about bodybuilding, especially when we were talking about the Arnold Classic and Steve Lorris's back being in the hotel room. But he did shout out the memes, so nothing to do with me and you, entirely down to James Poyner. So
Brilliant.
if you tune in just for that, then
I've just texted him in the high grade. Any memes this week, lol.
okay.
Bearing in mind, it's always usually a joint effort. So usually we'll come up with the idea. But then to be fair to him, he has actually come up with a few of his own ideas this week and then just like sent me them and gone, meme for this week. Oh, excellent.
Yeah. You come up with the idea. I never come up with the idea. I just get surprised weekly with
Part of the fun, I think.
yeah. So at this point, with episode 14, but actually
No, that joke is because we've done 16 episodes, but only named 14 because of Saved by the Dumbbell and part 2 of something else. I'm glad I remembered it as well as that. But yes. Go on.
favorite meme so far, as we lead up to the most important thing about British Finals weekend, which will be the grand meme contest giveaway T-shirt situation.
Yeah. Do you know I really like the twins one, just because I'm old, because that's just one of the originals. I really like the Thanos one.
Okay, yeah, here we go.
Just because of the pure comedy value that you look like a rat and I look like Mike, I think.
I don't know why that come out like that.
It's brilliant. He's like, I remember him pissing himself saying, always text back, live on the wire, got anything in mind? Okay, I'll leave it up to me again then.
Okay.
So yeah, if you've got any ideas for memes, please comment below. If there's anything you'd like to see from the meme store to go on a T-shirt, this could go in. You could end up winning this T-shirt. Tell you what we should probably do. Whoever comes up with the best meme, will make them a T-shirt with it on. That's a great idea.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm good at podcasts.
Why are you so good at podcasts? I'd definitely like to. I'm thinking as well, a good T-shirt would be podcast. Just podcast. PODCARST.
RST, yeah, podcast. Live on the wire. Good.
Yeah. It's like before. We mentioned Rob and Claire when Karen and I were speaking, and you would think that Claire would be and Claire are two different people. Because it sounds like
say Claire's hair.
Claire's her.
Claire's hair.
Yeah.
Good. So what are you wearing this week for sponsors?
Still holding out for that Gasp sponsor.
Look at that.
It is good.
Almost looks vintage, doesn't it?
It's made to look vintage. Nice long sleeve sort of situation. Good trap T-shirt.
Nice. Good optimal neck hair as well. Good.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna get this. This is the discussions with Cara and I have been what we're doing with this. It's staying long. It's staying optimal. Staying optimal back hair, but it's going to be trimmed and done in what Cara keeps describing as an Italian stallion way is what she wants.
Definitely. Can you get a perm like Rocky?
Don't know.
Probably just for the end of the year Christmas party or something.
I'll see.
By the way, I meant to say to you, I probably did on a voice note in the week, but we are genuinely going to get to have a Natty Muscle Radio Christmas do this year, aren't we?
100%. Yeah.
Me, you, Cara, Claire, James Poigneur,
yeah,
Marcus.
Yeah.
Who else has been on? No one. That is.
No one yet. But we have another 6 months before the.
If you're feeling we could have Delroy on as our Sid from RX Muscle.
Yeah.
For a Q&A episode with us at some point.
Yeah, I really want a round table episode that is absolutely bro bodybuilding as you can get, and we need Delroy on for that.
We could maybe do that in an actual round table and just video it.
Okay.
We're allowed to be a meter apart from everybody.
Can we? I like how we're just brainstorming other podcasts on the podcast, but I mean, I'd like to watch this. So, can we sit on a round table watching bodybuilding DVDs with Delroy? That sounds like an Alan Partridge idea. But it's basically us three sitting on a table watching bodybuilding DVDs.
I would prefer the VHS to make it more vintage, so we have to rewind and fast forward. The only thing with watching a VHS is going to be where to play it on, because who really still has a VHS player? I'll be disappointed if Tom Poigneur has got the VHS bodybuilding DVDs and no actual VHS player.
I think you might do. I feel like he might. He strikes me as a man to have a VHS player.
Saying that, my dad is the go-to for things like that. He used to have the DVD player and VHS system built in as one.
Wow.
Wasn't stacked up like old school. It was at one.
Wow.
Exactly.
That's levels.
Yeah, that is levels. So
I feel like wherever we do the Olympia watch party, that device needs to come along so that we can have a pre-show of VHS and DVDs.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so that'll be at mine this year.
Yeah, the rule is whoever's prepping that year holds the Olympia party. Should be different this year because hopefully you're not fucking prepping in December.
Yes, so we could all be off season and all have optimal protein bars, and we have a protein bar selection.
Never gonna happen.
No, we'll order some Boosh boxes from Ratty Ryan. Their hair, he's obviously going for the optimal back hair, if you didn't know.
I've not seen it, no.
He's had a hair transplant this week.
Really? Wow.
So he's that jealous of mine and yours luscious locks.
I would be.
I would be. What are you eating? Fish fingers?
Oh, just being a bodybuilder.
Oh, and a Tupperware as well, at home.
Yeah. I kind of feel a bit weird eating off a plate, even if you have the choice.
Do you? Do you eat with plastic knives and forks as well?
No, I eat with a metal fork and do this quite a lot, which winds Cara up.
Oh, yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah.
It's really horrible.
I know.
You know, you should have answered in Jay Cutler fashion. Yeah, I don't like the metal on my teeth.
But I do.
That's so weird. That's weird.
I like to know I've got everything off the fork. So if I'm prepping, you'll find me like this.
You know, like, speaking of like weird things, I keep wanting to remember this, so I've remembered it this week. Me and Claire were having a discussion the other week about carrots.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And she went, oh, isn't it funny? Like, I was like, she won't eat carrots sliced in circles. Like, if you imagine you've got your carrot and you went like this along it. Yeah. As opposed, she will eat them as carrot sticks, like batons.
Batons.
And when I said, I was like, oh, so you wouldn't eat them in a circle? She went, oh, no, that's rank. It's like so somehow it changes the taste of the carrots because it's cut a different way.
Okay.
But I just found that rather amusing. But she's actually right. You can't fight her on it.
Is it because, and maybe we can find out next week live from Claire, is it because when you're eating them cylindrical?
It's like a word.
Yes.
For our viewers of bodybuilders who don't know what circular is.
If you're eating it circular, like a circle, round, like me, is it because it's cooked at that point? Because you would seldom eat a raw circular carrot, but I'm thinking that Claire is meaning she will eat a carrot as a baton, raw, dipped in hummus.
True, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true, but yeah, maybe like she's thinking of like overcooked roasting a school carrot.
Yeah. No need. That I'm not a fan of that really.
No, actually,
I like a bit of crunch.
Raw carrot, yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. Like if they did it at Nando's with the hummus and the pitters, I definitely would take some raw carrot. So if Nando's, if you're watching and you want to invest in that idea, that's fine. Take some veg or take some vitamin K.
Nando's, in my opinion, Nando's is massively overrated. Now, it's expensive chicken. It's enjoyable, but it's expensive chicken. However, the peri peri drizzle that they put on the hummus,
Next
that's
level.
the one. It's next level, yeah. And it's not peri peri sauce. If anyone's going like, oh, just put peri peri sauce on it, it's not.
Plus, the Peronaise is very different in the little tubs as opposed to that whatever the excuse for that is in a supermarket in a squeezy bottle doesn't anything like it. So there's two things there straight away it's worth going to Nando's for. Why don't we just go for a starter and go home then and have chicken?
Because I don't know then, because I get sold by I might get a chicken pitta with.
I like a wrap from Nando's, I must admit. It's but then it's always a good go-to if like I'm out and about. This will be a deal breaker for me. I'm out on a Saturday. I'm going to have a takeaway in the evening or something a little bit naughty off plan.
Yeah.
I sometimes have something too dirty in the daytime.
Yeah.
I then struggle to eat the rest of my meals, even though I will.
I know. We know about that. We all know about that.
Episode 6. Go back and rewatch it. Timestamp 3. No, just joking. But yeah, it's one of them things that it kind of puts me off from wanting to eat clean for the rest of the day. Whereas Nando's doesn't do that to me.
Yeah.
Because you could eat sweet potato mash and a chicken breast at Nando's with a bit of full fat ketchup.
Yeah, it's decent off-season, off-plan, but not off-plan as well, isn't it? It's getting a chicken meal in.
We always used to go to the Centrals, BNBF, and that Nando's always used to be rammed with bodybuilders in the interval. It used to be the go-to. It always used to be a Nando's interval. St Albans.
Not the same place they had it this year, then? Last year or no? Then because we found it in the interval was a tiny coffee shop.
You should come out the road, go over the first set of the main road down there, see the Marks and Spencer's, turn left, walk right down the bottom of the road, and it was the last shop on the end, basically.
And I hope everyone enjoyed that segment of Directions with Rob Waterhouse.
Yep, in case the venue is telling to go back there, so.
Oh yeah, we're fine, Rob. All right, so a couple of little things before we get into the main thing. You had a small point you wanted to make, but I also have something I wanted to bring up. I was training in the Hobbit Hole with Chris Hayes. That name has stuck, by the way. Now it is forever known as the Hobbit Hole.
Yeah.
What?
You need to get him a plaque for the wall.
Yeah. No, we're getting a few things. We're getting a whiteboard this week, so we can write totals on and weeks out and stuff.
Hilarious.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
With 2 people in the gym.
Yeah, no, I'm stealing it from work as well, so I'm not paying for it. So it is what it is. But he bought a Shakespeare.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow, and he enjoyed it so much that he left a review, but still claims that it doesn't shake as well as you claim, and the lid fell off this week.
Unlucky. Obviously got a faulty one.
So, best shaker ever. Even you're not drinking out of it. Right,
Because if you listen, really, the best shaker ever is only reserved for my protein shake after my workout. This is an EAA shaker of all multi-purpose use, including pre-workouts. A protein shake, because I don't have a built-in blender to it, that's the next best thing to get the best blended shake.
Okay.
So that is why, whereas EAAs, it doesn't need blending like that.
Okay.
So,
all right. I'll let you off with that. But also, I'd like to know what EAA cocktail you're doing, because one of the saddest times on prep for me last year was being at yours after a gym session, and you made me a nice EAA cocktail, and there's a picture of me with a very drawn-in face just taking a sip out of what was a very nice EAA cocktail, but it was very Hello Darkness, I can't have calories.
This is what I would have been two things. Either Grunt by Redcon 1.
Yeah.
More than likely, it was the best EAA ever, in my opinion, which is the one from Seth Rosie's Axe and Sledge.
Yeah.
Which is called The Grind.
Yeah.
Which is an EAA and BCA together. All the aminos you could want.
Everything you need. Dan North messaged me this week with he'd purchased Mutant, whatever it's called, and you said to him, it's not Seth Rosie.
Same. And he said, what flavours? Well, what flavours do they do? I went, well, obviously, Swamp Beast, Shark Bite, Scorpion Venom, Hardworking Motherfucker. He's like, what are them flavours? Well, if you don't know, you don't know.
If you don't know what a hardworking motherfucker tastes like, you don't know what a Swamp Beast tastes like, then get the fuck out.
Okay. What else have they got? The other flavours of that. Is it blue one, red one? They'll come back to me. Unicorn Blood.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've got I bought me and Chris as a thank you for the Hobbit haul. Tiger's Blood Redcon 1 Total War.
Yeah, that's good. Good idea.
It's good. It's nice.
Buy one, get one free on the website at the moment.
Is it? Don't tell me that. Problem
is with that though, is you are still getting a good deal, so there's no disputing that. But like, if you go on like Dolphin Fitness and you order Total War, it's like 24 quid.
Yeah.
Like 35 quid on the bin, but then you do get one free, so you are already paying like 17 quid a tub or so.
Yeah. Yeah. You can only get it if it's got a deal, really, isn't it?
You know what I'm really, really hacked off about this week?
What?
Is that they've flipping done it again on Redcon. So they have released the best looking tubs of pre-workout and EAs called the Vice City range, which, as we've probably said in a previous podcast on supplements, if you stick a flashy label on a supplement, it's exactly the same thing as I have at home. I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah.
So you get so it's like the Vice City theme is like, you know, Miami Heat's
Vice, yeah.
Yeah.
Like the purple, neon purple, blue.
Yes. Yeah. But you can't also get the Star Wars flavour. You can't get. Yeah. So I'm like, well, what do we get in England then? Just bog standard black tubs, rubbish.
Yeah.
So I might put a complaint into Aaron Stingerman.
I found the website is not as good either. As like they've not had. I wanted to try the Isotope out. We don't have that. Seems to not be available. But so you can message him about that as well while you're on it. We got a live meme. Yes.
Brilliant. You look brilliant in this.
And Pearl Jam.
It is optimal. So,
cheers, James. I've started tagging James in the memes because I want people to understand that as funny as I am, James is the one that has the genius behind the memes. So thank you, James.
Thank you, James. I'm just texting him saying I'm just recording.
All right, just have a live text here. Just have a live break for a text.
Pins and stuff. So 1 second. So why don't you didn't send the other? Why just send this? First one live on episode. That'll do. Okay. Back to the podcast.
Okay. You wanted, before we go into the topic, we're going to have a pre-topic.
Pre-topic.
You wanted me to say, just remind you of Pump.
Yeah, okay, so we'll go with that. I also wanted to say Dan North texted me today, and a minute ago, before we started, and said, are you preppy or something? Are you preppy on prep? As in, do you turn into a zombie by the end of prep? Because last time when Aaron was prepping, he just basically ended up grunting at people and not actually talking to anyone. So I think he's wondering, his question is that am I going to turn into, do you prep well? Or at the end of prep, are you going to be really diet brain on the podcast? Ha ha. Basically, because at the end of prep, Aaron just grunted at people and then he put laughy emojis. So that was true. That was true to a certain point. But I think also as well is that when you're around people who are prepping and you've been to them dark waters, so to speak, I think that you just appreciate that it's okay to be a bit grumpy, and just if you don't want to talk and just want to sit there and have your protein shake and sip it slowly after your workout and then go for a coffee and not say much, it's absolutely fine.
Yeah, I think that's the latter actually. I think grumpiness can often get mistaken for wanting to just sit and be silent. Again, Dusty was saying on It's Just Bodybuilding that on his worst prep he ever did, after like a 40-minute Stairmaster session, he would sit at the bottom of the Stairmaster for 10 minutes in silence before he had the energy to walk to his car. Sometimes it's just, you just want to be quiet.
Yeah.
And so I think grumpiness can sometimes just be that.
I would definitely say that's more evident on low carb days when I used to prep. The girl who used to work at us at Darren's gym, I'd come off the step mill. I was my second hour of cardio after starting at 6 o'clock in the morning shift, doing 6 o'clock morning cardio. Open the gym at 7, then obviously work through on like 50 carbs, train, and then do an hour's worth of cardio afterwards. And then she would come up to me and then want to talk to me 100 miles an hour about, I look like I've lost more weight in my face this week. What have you got for dinner tonight? And I would be like, the fucking same thing I've had for the last 20 weeks, chicken and brown rice. And like 20 grams of brown rice at that. So, and then she just wanted to mean well, but I think at that point I was just like, I just want to sit here in silence. And so I used to go into the men's changing room to have my protein shake because I was less likely to be bothered by anyone else, really.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a famous day that Dan North's alluding to when everyone was up for the Northern. And that was when I did the monster 2 scoops of, I think it might have been defib or something, 2 scoops of something else. Aaron's secret Jedward stuff that he puts in. And just knocked it back like it was water. Dan North thought I was going to die. I proceeded just to grunt and make noises at people, and then I never made it to view the Northern qualifier because I just had to sit there feeling sorry for myself. So that was peak what Dan's describing.
Yeah. It's okay. I think it's okay.
It is okay. It's all right. It's all right to be a bit like that. Not from day one. If you're prepping for that the entire time, you're like that. But come on, 4 weeks, yeah.
Well, I think it's better because we have changed the day of the podcast that we record now.
Yeah.
So now it's off the back of a day and a half of high food for me. So at least you do get a little bit more liveliness out of me. So
yeah, well more funny now. Yeah, still not as funny as me, but.
So anyway, back to the task in hand. So there's something that's come up in check-ins a lot this week. I changed the format of how I do the check-ins slightly this week, and I'm giving people a bit more of a checklist to hit to, because sometimes people can't really be asked, and it's like they send a check-in, so other than just sending in a visual check-in, they sometimes get into the point where they start glossing over stuff because not much has happened that week. So I basically started doing a bit more in-depth checklist to go from. And one of the things I was quite keen to find out from people is taking note of when you get pumped during your training sessions. And what I found is from a lot of people is that not a lot of people get a good pump during the training sessions, which I found very, very strange. So for a number of reasons. So maybe what you can do is list off some stuff that maybe you will consider that is going to be the issue behind that, and I'll chirp in as well.
Mm-hmm.
But the most of the feedback we get is that they feel that they're not doing enough reps to get a pump, which I found strange as well, because I can do 3. I can do a 1 rep max and get a pump. So what do you think tends to be the main maybe difficulty for some people, maybe not getting a pump, or maybe what you've experienced in your own training, if you think about this from your own answer? If I was with a client, what do you think?
So I'll bring up first, because I think it probably doesn't pertain to your clients, I would assume, because of the way that you would have people prep. But I have experienced, not last year, but previous years, certainly low carb diets can lead to pretty poor pumps. That's pretty self-explanatory. Not a lot of glycogen going on, and yeah.
So let's see if we can get 10 points. You're not getting a pump. Let's see if we can get 10. So
10
low carb diets. Ding, 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 ding.
Okay. Do you want to go back and forth? You go.
Okay. Yes, we can do that if you want. Or why don't you list? Okay, yeah, we'll just go backwards and forwards. That's fine. We like to hash things out on the podcast and just.
We didn't talk about this for longer than 10 seconds before we came on air.
So one of the other thing is adequate hydration. Obviously, it's all very well you eating a bunch of carbs maybe before you work out for breakfast, but if you're not hydrated, you are going to find it more difficult to get a pump.
Yeah.
Number 2. Point
okay. Right. So for number 3, I will add to that. Say it's all right to drink water, but if you have not had adequate salt, you will also find yourself without a pump.
Sodium, yeah. So if we get to 5, it'd be good.
No, we're not going to get to 10.
We are going to get to 10. We are going to get to 10. So point number 4. One of the biggest things I've found as well is mind to muscle connection on your exercise. So I'm going to give that as a separate point, because that ties into another point quite well. So mind to muscle connection, basically not kind of actually thinking about the muscles that are working.
Yeah.
Actually just moving away from A to B. Okay,
yeah.
So that's number 4. I've got number 5 here if you want me just to rattle that off with that point.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, yeah, think about what we're doing. Also, exercise execution. That ties in well with that, but basically, just as I said, it might be that you are doing let's take a bench press exercise, and you're very much a front delt and tricep presser. You may find it very difficult to actually activate that muscle, because maybe your bar path is completely wrong, or the way you're executing the actual movement is not actually yielding a response, but maybe you get it on a different muscle group and your diet's exactly the same, hydration's the same. So actually just the way you execute. So that's 5 points for you straight away.
Yeah, I'll just quickly add to that is, I mean, certain body parts you'll find you get pumped on better. So I'll do half a warm-up rep on chest, and I'll be like this. No problem at all. I'll do half a lat pull down, and I'll be like this.
Yeah.
Lats all over the place. So that helps. Point 6 is, so you mentioned mind muscle and you mentioned execution, but it's training with any form of intensity. Training hard. Again, another plug for It's Just Bodybuilding and Dusty Hanshaw, seems to be the topic of the week. He says he often gets from his clients who he'll give them a workout and it'll be X amount of working sets. It might be 2, 3, 4 with kind of like low amounts of reps. And a lot of his new clients come back to him and be like, oh, this is too easy. This workout's far too easy. And his response is, you're just not doing it hard enough then. Exactly. You can make any workout plan as easy as you want, and you cannot get a pump, or you cannot get sore, or any of the barometers that you have for hard training and successful training. If you're just not doing it hard enough, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Is that 6?
That's 6.
Okay. I actually have one then. What was the next one? Well, I'm going to throw sleep out there because if your sleep is massively down, then that's going to elicit obviously a harder, how should we say, you're going to find it hard for your body to operate properly.
Yeah,
exactly. So that's one of them. I had a really good one then, and I can't remember what it was, and that's going to annoy me because it was tying in with what you were saying.
Right. Well, I'll move on then. If you think about it, so that's 7, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to go with, if you're going with sleep, I was going to say recovery, and I mean like training a muscle group too soon again. You know, if you're trying to train chest, if you're trying to bring your chest up and you're hitting it every other day or whatever, and you're like, I can't get a pump, can't feel it, because it is just constantly in a state of being broken down. That whole John Meadows analogy of digging a hole.
Yep.
If you're not filling the hole back up, then you're not recovering and growing the muscle. So, recovery.
Recovery, indeed, yeah. It's really going to annoy me because I reckon I was going to get 10 because I had it on the tip of my tongue before you started speaking. So what were you talking about with Dusty? So it was basically making it work hard, wasn't it?
Yeah, people like he does a lot of DC training for anybody that doesn't know, and he'll send workouts to his clients that are, they might be like, you know, a low total amount of work sets is what is in the plan, and they say to him, that doesn't seem like a lot. I need a lot. He says a lot of people turn around to me and says, I need more volume than that. You don't need more volume. You just need to work harder within the sets. You know, you actually make them work. I've been trying to. When we've been training in the Hobbit Hole, just kind of by habit, Chris would go into a lot of, doing 3 sets, doing 4 sets or whatever. So we've been doing those hack squats with the foam roller. We absolutely blasted legs yesterday. We did front squats. I did front squats. And we got to the foam roller hacks, and instead of working up, I just got him to grab the heaviest weight, and we just did triple drop set, and that was it. Because then I said to him afterwards, I said, why would we need to do a set? By that point, I was already warm. My legs were already blasted, but I knew that I could put everything into one absolutely major set. So
yeah. So I pulled out the bag. I remembered.
Good lad.
So we can do this as 2 points, and then that's 10.
Oh, that's cheating, but okay.
The pre-workout that you're using is too high in stims, and therefore is restricting your vasodilation.
Yeah.
Because anything you use which is too high a stim actually restricts blood flow. So actually, as a point of it, you're taking a pre-workout to try and to give you a pump, and it's actually all it's doing is giving you like you've had a line of speed, and therefore you've got a really good head focus for your workout, and you feel like you want to go lift some heavy stuff, but you can't get pumped because actually you can maybe get adrenal fatigue because you've absolutely been smashing your adrenals all the time by doing an errand and drinking a coffee mixed with a Monster, mixed with caffeine, mixed with
crack.
Workout. Crack. So yes. And number 10, if you want me to finish it.
Go on.
Is that you're not using the recommended pump formula to go with your pre-workout, because if you haven't got the pump formula, you can't expect to achieve all those things, because even if all them things weren't there, if you take mine and Aaron's magic pump formula supplementation, you're still going to get a pump no matter what.
I feel like we might have gone into it on the supplement episode, but I also don't want to allude to it anymore and want to sell it as like an ebook, a really expensive ebook pump formula.
The £1 Kai Green, I've become a vegan.
Yeah.
£1 ebook.
Yeah.
But basically, supplementation. If your supplementation sucks, and I said you're using maybe a too heavy stim, it's basically one of the things that can definitely just make your body function that much better.
Yeah, caffeine is a vasoconstrictor for anybody that doesn't know.
So just give me 3 decent pump supplements that you would want that are not going to be in like a non-stim pre.
So non-stim pre's.
5 out the cupboard, I can do that.
You might as well. It looks like an episode of Breaking Bad when Rob's around for a workout. So big noise.
But what we're talking ingredients if people are looking at like to find things. So
So beta alanine's good.
Yeah.
Citrulline's good.
Yeah. I say L-citrulline. Yeah.
Glycerol is good.
Extract is good.
What was that?
Beetroot extract.
Yeah, good. Natural source of L-arginine.
Yeah, there you go. So like things like that, which are non-stimmy, but are going to allow you to have more blood flow, more volume. That is 10 points just rattled off live, no research done, just basic knowledge from our heads right now whilst I'm on a diet. Jesus.
It wasn't even that obvious that we didn't research this before and didn't have any pre-planning. I mean, people would be amazed with how slick this podcast is. People would be amazed to know that the planning for this is a 3-minute voice note from Rob midweek saying, I think we should talk about this. I go, yeah, that sounds good. We get on, speak for about 1.5 minutes. I make some notes so that I don't go too much on a tangent. And then there we go. We get an hour and a half of pure gold.
Pure educational segments.
Yeah, I have had absolutely half dozens of people message me about supplements.
At least like 5, at least 5.
Yeah. So we will do another supplement episode because on a serious note, a few people have messaged to know about digestive stuff. Like I said, not a digestive guru or anyone that would even profess to be that. It just pisses me off that people don't consider it. And also, I think there's a few things that you can take if you're a natural bodybuilder that is quite happy to explore supplementation within the realms of what we're allowed to do. I think there's some nice things that you can do to aid you in either fat loss or kind of balance of hormones and stuff like that, and it's just quite interesting. So there will be a part 2 episode of supplements with Natty.
I definitely won't ruin it for that, but I would say this year is probably the most I've taken into consideration of supplementation whilst being back on prep, because for a number of years I used absolutely nothing really.
Yeah.
Like you get to the polygraph and they're like, write down your supplement. I'm like, do you really want me to write down whey protein? Because it's kind of all I'm using. But, you know, on a serious note, there's kind of, you know, but this year I've definitely, I think a lot of it's because I'm a routine of training where I'm not having to carry around 50 different supplements in my boot of my car because I'm training at a different gym every day or every week. So that's been a massive, a really nice change to have. But we'll go into what we're having on episode 15 or so.
Actually,
part 2, yeah, everything 15, part 2B.
Right.
Okay, so what we talking about this week?
45 minutes in. This week, we were going to talk about motivation in bodybuilding.
We were indeed, and we are. We are going to talk about how far are we in already?
45 minutes.
Oh, sweet. There you go. Half an hour, wrap this up.
Nice.
Okay. So, without being too cliche, I guess, maybe just along the lines of like what keeps you motivated in an off season, how to keep motivated, maybe just like for training itself, and a big thing that I've found, and it's more so with general population of people I coach than it is bodybuilders, but just that willingness to like adhere to the plan. So being motivated to basically do the basics.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you found that a bit more with like training at home during quarantine. Like it sucked massively, but you know, you're still going to be able to like, you know, if not go backwards too much by still doing something. So I guess let's start with, is motivation something that you have an issue with in an off season? Or maybe what's the kind of things that maybe come up where, yeah, I don't know, however you want to kind of really.
Okay, let's take it from that standpoint. And I think you have to separate it into two definitely into two groups of people. So you already mentioned the general population, those people that just want to look good, maybe get in shape, because those. Go on.
Mere mortals.
Yeah, I really want to, people beneath us. But those people that, and not just, and I would also say them people that want to, that maybe aren't like massive bodybuilding fans like you and I, and kind of are doing this because they like bodybuilding. But you get people that also just want to look good, want to do a bodybuilding show because it's a way for them to get in shape. They get some cool pictures. They can, kind of post it on their Instagram, whatever. Maybe they've just got a coaching business and they want to do some pictures so that they can say, look at me, I can get in really good shape, so I can help you get in shape. Versus, let's call it career bodybuilders. And what I mean by that is someone like yourself that has a series of goals that you want to complete over a period of time in bodybuilding. So it's not just about doing a show for you to get pictures and look good. It's, you became this champion, became a DFAC pro, and then what the things you've got installed coming over the next however many years and all that kind of stuff. Same for me. I would like to go from where I am now to somewhere higher and all that. So there's two types really. There's I'm just getting on stage and I'm kind of seeing something through. For me and you, because we have the goal, and it might be in 2, 3, 4, 5 years time, and off season is no different to a prep. And what I mean by that is not in like a outwork wanker sort of way of being there is no off season. I'm eating, I'm changing my calories and I'm doing all this bullshit. It's a continuation of prepping for a bodybuilding show. So it's as important in an off season to do everything you need to do to improve, get bigger, improve body parts, however you want to call it. Maybe for some people that's staying leaner because they've found that they get too big in the off season and they lose track and they don't do all these things. But if your goal is a long-term one, take Delroy for example, brought him up last week about it. It's no problem for him. You ask Delroy if he struggles with motivation going forward, of what he wants to achieve. And maybe people might have a hard time with the quarantine, like you mentioned, but that's very extenuating circumstances. Let's say we're talking in a situation where
normal life.
Yeah, you can still be blasting the gym every day. I was pumped from watching Del's Instagram posts while I was prepping, of watching him getting in the gym, getting bigger, training hard, because I was thinking, I can't wait to be doing that. I can't wait to be in my phase where I'm growing and I'm improving for the next show. So for that reason, for me, motivation in the off season is not even a consideration. But I would see how, if you were getting in shape for a one-off, to say you've done a bodybuilding show, to promote a business, or even if you weren't doing that, even if you were getting in shape to, we've discussed it before, getting in shape to go on a holiday or something like that. I could see very much how I would not have the motivation to do that, and I could see other people struggling also. Yeah,
it's definitely a couple of ways to look at it, isn't it? Really, but I think that maybe bodybuilders do go through it a lot. Maybe, well, not a lot, less, maybe more than general population. But general population, like things I've found with clients, is like, as I said, like, what are you doing it for? Because I just want to be healthy and look a bit better. There's no kind of like, there's no scale for that.
Yeah.
It's just like, whereas for a bodybuilding show, it's like, right, I need to bring up my arms. Okay, so then like, my focus for my off season to be doing this, this, and this. So that when I come back, I'm going to win. But, for a lot of people, there's a number of factors. But I can honestly say that I don't think I've ever really been through a stage that I can really remember where I've ever really struggled to go to the gym. And it's cliche as it sounds, because I do really enjoy it. I don't need to be kind of motivated to go, because it's like the best part of my day still. But I can understand, like, on a diet and things like that, like to be motivated to do cardio.
Right.
To be motivated to, like, I guess, stay on the plan and not overeat on a contest diet. Like it comes, you know what I mean? It comes to like there's a number of things to be motivated by. But
let me interrupt you and say,
oh.
Would you then, as someone I just described as this group of people who's bodybuilding orientated, got the goal? Because to me, there's a difference between this. You might be staring at that really piddly portion of carbs, or you might be staring at the Stairmaster that you're about to get on, and you might hate the idea of doing it, and you do not want to do it. But does the thought ever cross your mind actually of not doing it? Would you even consider? And that's the difference. That's the difference. There will be people that will go, no, I'm far too hungry, so I'm going to eat extra. Or I cannot be asked doing that cardio today, so I'm not going to. And then there's people that will hate it. Like, do you think I wanted to be doing cardio and eating low calories when I was at the grunting stage? Definitely not. But we didn't miss a beat. You know, and there is, and again, it's not being outwork wankers. It's not telling everybody that you work harder than people. It's just an acknowledgement that, I mean, Tom Poyner summed this up before. He said that you choose to do bodybuilding. You know, so you should never put yourself in a situation where you kind of like feel like you're being forced to do something. But if you have that goal, not doing the things you're supposed to is what's in your way.
I think like I would be annoyed at myself if I didn't do it. And that's the difference. It's like I would be annoyed if I fucking copped out, because I just feel like if you like, and this is what I find really hard to get across to clients and to have, I guess, on the same wavelength. If you want to be the best at something in the world, right, which is really feasible for us competing in world championships and things like that of that age to that level, like you don't really get to have off days. You don't really get to cut corners, and you don't really get to do, there's a lot of sacrifices that will be made as such, because if I don't do it, then someone else is getting ahead of me the whole time. So I always want to feel like I can look back when I get to a show and go, like, yeah, I went out and trained in the rain, and you know, as people go, oh, it's so hardcore training in the rain or whatever. But like, it's just that like I had a job to do. I had to do it this certain way because I had other stuff on my plate and didn't want to use things as excuses. But it's like, if I'm going to get to that and reach that level, I can't. It's like that whole thing of like no stone unturned. You really can't afford to do that because other people will be doing it. So it's really hard sometimes to put across to like Doris, who wants to lose 5 pounds to go on holiday. Not that I train Doris and she wants to go on holiday, but as an example, you know, she's not gonna like, you know, the more, if they did treat their diet and nutrition and training that way, they would get a much faster result. And I have had it a lot this week with a few clients, and it's been very, very frustrating. You know, and I hope they don't mind me saying this, because if they do watch the podcast and stuff like that, but it's like there's a certain degree of element where it's like you're gonna have to man the fuck up and get on with it to a certain point. Yeah. And then there's certain points where it's okay to maybe make a little switch. But like, it's like I've given you a diet and it's like, oh, it's a lot of food and this is hard and this is hard. It's like, yes, but all this is gonna change. But to a certain point, you're gonna have to, like, you've been good to yourself for far too long by eating a bagel for breakfast and then a chicken and rice microwave packet for lunch and then your mum's evening dinner. That is not going to get you a response to basically creating the physique that you want. So you're going to have to put some more effort in. And it's that realization of like, fuck, I've actually got to eat this meal when I'm not very hungry. And I don't feel like training. It's like, yeah, well, unfortunately, this is the kind where you've got to meet me halfway, and you've actually got to get off your ass and go do it, prep your food, sit down and eat your dinner, you know. And then if in 6 weeks' time you come back to me and you haven't made any progress, then cool, like no worries, like, you know, move on. But there needs to be, I guess, like without rambling too much, there needs to be a degree of like effort on your part to. What I said to him was, it's basically, if you want to, you know, basically don't complain about the result you didn't get for the work you didn't do. And if you're going to want to get to somewhere where you haven't got to before, you're going to have to do things you haven't done before. So as bro-y and as kind of motivational quote wanker as they sound, there's a lot of truth to that.
I love that one. What is it? What do you say? Don't be
annoyed at the result you didn't get from the work that you didn't do.
That's great. I've been watching a lot of
Dusty Hanshaw.
Dusty Hanshaw, it's just bodybuilding. No, I have been watching that. But I like it's powerlifting with a bit of bodybuilding. It's a lot of elite FTS stuff, with Dave Tate.
Stuff, yeah.
If you've not watched anything by J.M. Blakely already, please, I will send you the link after this podcast.
Put it below on the comments, please.
No, I'll just send it you. Fuck everybody else. Some of the stuff that he talks about and the way he speaks is fantastic, and he's a strength athlete, he's a powerlifter, he's very good. I don't know enough about powerlifting, but he's done like over 700-pound benches, stuff like that. So strong guy, but a smart guy as well, and a very leveled, chilled out guy. And I've had this conversation with people before, and it adds on to what you're talking about. Then is the people who don't want to do the work and then will complain about the end product. Because you'll also have people that say, well, they might see somebody who does well and doesn't have to do the work that you're being told you've got to do. So I and you, we have to diet for you've been dieting forever already, and we'll be continuing to diet for a long time because you get really big and you're not staying 5 kilos above stage weight. So what you have to do is different to what somebody else has to do. Same with me. Like on the converse is you have things that you're very good at putting size on. Some other people struggle with that. An analogy he says, so I'm stealing this entirely from J.M. Blakely, so he's not watching. But if anybody else wants to go, oh, well, you plagiarize this, then I've already said it. It says you stood behind a vending machine, and the person in front of you puts in $1 for the can of Coca-Cola. They get a can of Coca-Cola, and it's your turn. You go up there, and the price changes. It's $2 because for you've got to put in $2. The person before you had to put in $1, but you have to put in $2. You can have the exact same thing as the person before you, but you have to put more in. Yeah. Do you still want it?
Yeah.
And if the answer is no, is if you don't want to do that extra work because that's what you are, that's what your body is, or maybe your mind is that way because you're studying for something. If the simple answer is you've got to do more than the other person, do you still want to do it? Because the option's there. You're not being told you can't do it. Christ, maybe if we're using the same analogy, maybe someone goes buys a Coke for $1 and yours is 10 because you have to work that much harder. You can still do it. Because then he talks about another thing. It's something about it's called the 10,000 hour theory. That if you put 10,000 hours into anything, you can go from being at a low level to a very high level in anything. That's 10,000 real hours. Yeah. So you can break that up he breaks it up into like 10 hours over 4 years, 10 hours a day over 4 years. Well, let's take it up to, let's kind of say 20 hours, round it to 24, whatever. 20 hours over 2 years. So let's say you're coming off stage and you're taking a full off season and then you're prepping again. So if you really, really, really commit yourself for them 10,000 hours over 2 years, if you accept that, okay, I might have to pay more for the improvements I want to make than some other people. Those people I've seen win bodybuilding shows that don't have to prep hard or this, that and the other, and I've done my first show and I'm the champion or whatever. If that bothers you, and it bothers you to the point where you don't want to do it anymore, it's kind of your choice. But if you just accept the extra things that you've got to do to be there and then put that 10,000 hours in, you can do it.
Yeah, it's massively interesting, isn't it? Because I said I was only having this conversation with Lewis today. It's like I'm just at that stage where I know that and Chris Bumstead was a fantastic example of this. He was eating 1,800 calories on his diet.
Yeah.
For a Mr. Olympia who's like 240 pounds or so, is what he was. So we're talking, a very good amount of muscle. Had some health problems, water retention problems, things like that. But like, he's eating next to fuck all. Like, compared to like some girls, dieting for a bikini show are eating more food than he was. I know that's a bit of a rare example, but like they genuinely were. I know, as I said, if I look and send you 10 of my client plans that I have, they are all eating more food than me. And it's not because that, I need to suffer more. It's just because I can't diet on as much food as I would want to, because I've tried it over and over and over again. I'm like, I can't get to this point where it's like, if I want to get shredded, I can get into beach mode, absolutely no trouble at all. And it's a piece of piss, walk in the park. I've just got to basically not be lazy, do my steps, train hard, don't eat off plan, and I'll end up with a decent looking physique.
Yeah.
But to get to that exceptional level of show condition where you are peeled top to toe and you're going to win a show, then that's where I'm going to have to suffer at one point to get there. And that might be that I'm doing a very, very low amount of calories, very lower amount of carbs than most of my clients, or, you know what I mean? And it's like, that's the hand that I've been given and been dealt, and that's what you've got to do with it. You just have to accept it and then make it work, as I said, as opposed to, oh, Lewis gets to diet on 3 a month. He's complaining because he's got so much food all the time, and he's got to eat Rice Krispies every day because he physically can't get enough carbs in his body. It's like, yeah, that's all very well and good, and he can get shredded, but like, he's still gonna like suck getting there for him. Still gonna be hard for him.
Everybody has them things. Everybody has those things, and I could reel off people I competed with last year. So your client Chris Palin, Steve McDonald, I know that they both have to eat a lot of food to look even 1% full. Whereas I can have what people would consider a very, very, very low amount of carbs and look like I'm absolutely blasting. So it's, whereas I have the trouble of
getting lean.
There's guys who are physically sick at the amount of food that they have to eat.
Yeah.
So everybody has that. Everybody has that problem.
It's all on that spectrum, and I said, it comes back round to it again, really, with like the motivation side. It's like they're going to have to go for a whole different level of motivation to sit down and eat their meal, because like for someone like Chris, it makes a difference. Like, he's disheartened when he checks in an off season and he's only 3 kilos over stage weight because he physically can't eat any more food. And I say, bit flat again this week. It's like, fucking busting my ass, I'm eating, I'm like, he's got a high amount of activity, but then he said, that is just as hard to do that when if anyone's ever sat down and tried to force feed like 10 meals a day for a period of time, compared to someone who's like has to go hungry. You have to go to bed hungry, get up hungry, train hungry, and there's times where it's okay and you're relatively tired, but you just kind of like you're running on caffeine. It's like like as I said, everyone has their same things as you said, but like it's being motivated to do that and to kind of, how should we say, tick boxes, because it is very much like if you want to be motivated, you're gonna have to do all that stuff.
Well, I mean, we're not tick box wankers.
We are today. We are
not tick box. But it's there's no. You can kind of go on about this forever and sound dead kind of worthy and like, well, I don't struggle with motivation. So, look, I have always been the short 5'2" round kid. I sent you a picture the other week where I had long hair when I was a 14-year-old goth, and your reply was, "Is that your sister? She looks hot." Because that's what I used to look like. That's kind of what my body type is. But I've taken the things that I have that are good and took advantage of them so I can put size on easy. And actually, underneath all this size is some pretty good shape. So if I can just pay more for the condition than other people, then I'm willing to do that.
Yeah. Much better being a shape guy.
It's well better being a shape guy. Screw all you blocky shredded guys.
Funny. But as I said, I think, without getting away from the points, basically, it's kind of, being on what it takes to do that. But as I said, it's like motivating yourself to maybe to do the work and that kind of stuff. And I don't really ever feel like I've fallen out of love with training since I started, really. Ever. Maybe we go through. There's actually one point I really wanted to make, which isn't my own. So we love to steal other people's stuff on here. So we'll give full credit. I did that Fitness Unfiltered podcast with JP and Muscle Mentors guy and things like that. And there was something that JP talked about, which I found really interesting and have used this with my other clients as well, because it's a very good way of looking at it. But what he said was basically what we do with motivation is we get it and we basically chuck it away or put it to one side or put it in the bin. And I was like, well, what do you mean by that? But basically what he's saying is that as a bodybuilder, motivation's going to be high, motivation's going to be low, but you're going to do it anyway. So basically, it really doesn't matter if motivation's high, then great, that's a bonus. But if it's low, you're still going to go and do the job anyway. And I think that is maybe something that comes around to all maybe elite athletes is like, or any real athletes in general anyway. You are still going to go and do your rehab work. You're still going to go and do your training sessions. You're going to do your cardio and you're going to eat your diet food. It tends to be more of like, people saying, how do I, stay motivated? Because as I said, their end goal, as we spoke about before, isn't big enough to warrant you to basically go through the harder days and to motivate yourself to do it. Because, as I said, going on holiday or just to be healthy and look better isn't really a big enough goal. It has to be the kind of the want has to outweigh all the negatives at all times. So for you to like not go to a show and get third place because you wasn't lean enough, it's like, well, fuck, I'll show you. I will do the work that's needed to do to get there. Yeah. And, and that's the end of it. So I thought that was a really nice way of looking at it and puts a lot into perspective, because there's maybe times where you've maybe looked at prep or off season or whatever. And it's like, I've been at work for 12 hours. I'm knackered. I'm hungry. I'm still going to get a quick meal and then go to the gym at 9 o'clock in the evening because bodybuilding.
Right. I said it at the beginning of this bit. I'm not saying that I've never looked at that cardio machine and not wanted to do it. I've told Dan North this 100 times. I have sat outside the gym probably as long as some of my workouts on prep last year. I would pull up to the gym and sit outside, maybe sipping my pre-workout or whatever. Ron Partlow on It's Just Bodybuilding said that he used to get into the gym, he'd get off work or whatever, he'd get into the gym, he'd take his ECA stack, which is scary, so sorry about that, everybody.
Caffeine and aspirin.
Yeah, it didn't used to be Gary, now is Gary. He would pop that, he'd pull his hat down, sleep until the ECA stack woke him up, and then train. So
hilarious.
Everybody, when you're pushing it, as you said with your JP quote, is you'll have up days, you'll have down days, you'll have days where you're walking in the gym and you feel great. Maybe you're just off the back of a high day and your chest's massive and you're like, yeah, let's blast it. But you have to have the same aplomb and still go and do it off the back of a low day, even if you feel shit. So I guess then there's two types of motivation, really. And is that like, we could say chronic and acute motivation. Okay. So you've got acute motivation for, do I want to, in the off season, do I want to eat that extra meal? I've set myself 8 meals today and I want to eat this many calories because I want bigger arms. And it's 5 to midnight and you're stirring down another portion of chicken and potato. In that moment, do you want to do it acutely? No. But are you going to do it anyway? Yes. Because your chronic motivation for the long-term goal is so high.
Get one of the secret sauces out of the fridge. Get the Sweet Baby Ray's on the go. What we got today? Oh look, he's got a Nando's sauce in the bag. We've got some Flash in case you want to get extra shredded on the side there as well.
Yeah. Shout out to Joseph Calder, my superior at Your Gene Health. Not listening to this podcast, but shout him out anyway. His other half is from Leicester. And he claims that his other half has ketchup and mayonnaise together, and he calls it Midland sauce. Okay. So I made Midland sauce Mark II, which is a hot sauce. Or you choose in.
Peri.
Preferred is Frank's Buffalo. And then the leveler, what makes this absolute off-season goals, probably not prep, is
the burger sauce. Okay. Heinz's burger sauce.
With a hot sauce combo.
Okay. So if you need to get the extra chicken and rice meal down, turn your body into a thermogenic burger sauce calorie in combo by Aaron's secret recipe sauce. There's going to be a meme for this next week.
Yeah.
The Aaron bread, the Aaron sauce.
Wow. Aaron's sauce.
Aaron's sauce. Gonna definitely have like a picture of you looking busting like a set of bench press out, and I'll definitely get that on as Aaron's secret sauce.
Nice, good,
brilliant, very good, very good. So yeah, I mean, I think there's a number of angles we can hit that with the motivation. I think that maybe we'll do a later episode on some of the other stuff where it kind of comes around, because we've covered kind of aspects of it. But I think there's maybe more for like the Gen Pops of maybe like things you can do to motivate yourself, things you can do to look for inspiration. And as I said, there's a whole new topic on that, I guess, really.
Yeah, I think to cover them kind of things is harder, and I think we'd need a long time, and it's so bespoke to go through that. I'd actually find it really hard to tell somebody who is just getting ready for a holiday how to motivate themselves, because we've discussed it before, couldn't do it. But I think where this podcast come from was, you'd mentioned to me this week that you'd kind of been a bit wound up by some clients that you just didn't feel like were demonstrating the level of motivation that maybe they needed. And if you're going through that, if that's you, if you've ever been through that, if you've ever experienced that on a prep, it's everyone has it. But it's, Darren said it to me before, sometimes you just need to have a little word with yourself. Have this podcast with yourself, and just talk about what you're trying to do this for, and whether you're willing to not eat that meal, do that cardio, do that workout because of the consequences. So I think that's it, really. That's the kind of underlying issue, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing, and I think that it's like having experiences where you can pull on that during prep, like going to a show and placing 4th out of 4. I would much rather get on that bike and cardio and not cheat on my diet, because I do not want to experience that ever again.
Yeah,
that sucked way more than having to be a bit out of breath or being a bit tired.
I had to beg you and Darren last year to tell me to do the Central. Basically, I wanted to do it. Nobody else wanted me to do it. But I was like, just tell me it's a good idea. Tell me it's a good idea. Did it anyway. Got my ass handed to me. But still to this day, believe that I would not have done what I did at British finals had I not had my ass handed to me.
Yeah. So
sometimes it takes them little memories, those little dark things, or little pissed off things to get you on that bike.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And I say it's just a nice way to look at it, and a nice thing to always have those little cues to remind you of. It's like I'm gonna go get it done. I'm gonna get this done because, you know, I always have said, you know, I would hate to ever look back and be like, you just didn't work hard enough or you cut corners, because at the end of the day, it's just going to be like, you're going to be more pissed off for you. And if you end up doing it like a British finals, you've got to wait a whole another year again, or even sometimes 2 years to redeem yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like, you know, that'll stick with you for a long, 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 long time.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, so that's good. Wow. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So if you want to go back and listen to the 10 reasons you're not getting a palm, that's kind of a John Meadows video. Or if you want to skip through that and just watch our motivation and how to be motivational wankers. So yeah, you can watch that as well.
Well, if you want to learn more about Aaron's secret sauce, go to www.onlyfans.com/AARon secret sauce.
OnlyFans page featuring Aaron Bevan. Good. Excellent. Okay, we're going to leave on that note.
On that bombshell, Natty Muscle Radio.
There's always another level.
See you later.
See ya.